The massive crystal dome of the Galactic Council headquarters caught the light from 3 different suns as it slowly rotated above the planet Nexus Prime. Inside the dome, hundreds of different alien species worked together in perfect harmony. They had been doing this for over 3,000 years. Ambassador Zektar adjusted his silver robes and walked quickly down the long hallway. His 4 arms moved gracefully as he hurried toward the emergency meeting room. The Velnati people were known for their calm nature, but today Zektar felt worried, very worried. The message had arrived just 2 hours ago. A deep space probe, one of thousands that watched the galaxy for new civilizations, had found something impossible. The probe was in a star system that nobody had visited before. The system had a single yellow star and several planets. Nothing special about that. But the energy readings coming from that system made no sense at all. Zektar entered the meeting room where 12 other ambassadors were already seated around a circular table. Each ambassador looked different. Some had scales. Others had fur. Some breathed oxygen. Others needed different gases. But they all shared the same confused expression. "Show them what we found," Zektar said to the room's computer system. A 3-dimensional image appeared above the table. It showed a star system with 9 planets. The 3rd planet from the star glowed with the lights of cities and space stations. "Clear signs of intelligent life. This species calls themselves humans," said Ambassador Throx, a large creature with 6 eyes. "Our probe intercepted some of their communications. They seem to be a young civilization, maybe 1,000 years, of space travel at most." "Then explain this," Zektar said. The image changed to show energy readings from the edge of the star system. The numbers were so high that several ambassadors made sounds of disbelief. "That cannot be correct," whispered Ambassador Yil'ara, whose people had the most advanced sensors in the galaxy. "Those energy levels would require a ship larger than our biggest space cities." "The probe checked the readings 5 times, Zektar replied. "Every time, the same impossible numbers." For 3,000 years, the Galactic Council had kept peace among 847 different species. They had rules that everyone followed. No warships longer than 2 kilometers. No weapons that could destroy planets. All military technology had to be registered with the Council. These rules had prevented major wars and kept smaller species safe from aggressive empires. But these humans seemed to have broken every rule without even knowing the rules existed. "What do we know about their technology level?" asked Ambassador Droken, whose people were master engineers. "Basic fusion power. Simple, faster-than-light travel. Their weapons appear to be chemical explosives and primitive energy beams." Throx answered, "Nothing that should produce readings like this." "Unless they are hiding their true capabilities," Yil'ara suggested. The room fell silent. In 3,000 years of galactic civilization, no species had ever successfully hidden advanced technology from Council sensors. It was simply impossible. "There is another possibility," Zektar said slowly. "They may have discovered something we do not understand. Something completely new." This idea scared the ambassadors more than the thought of hidden weapons. The galaxy had reached a balance of power that worked for everyone. If one species suddenly had access to technology that others could not match, that balance would collapse. "We need to make contact," declared Ambassador Veltar, the Council's military advisor. "We must determine if these humans pose a threat to galactic stability, and if they do," asked Droken. Veltar's expression grew serious. "Then we must neutralize that threat before it grows larger." Several ambassadors shifted uncomfortably in their seats. The Council preferred peaceful solutions, but they had used force before when necessary. The Krothak Empire had learned this lesson the hard way 2 centuries ago when they tried to enslave smaller species. "I recommend we send Admiral Vexara with the first contact fleet," Veltar continued. 12 ships should be enough to handle any situation we might encounter." Zektar nodded. Admiral Vexara was the best officer in the Council fleet. Her people, the Mordani, were natural diplomats, but also fierce warriors when needed. If anyone could handle first contact with these mysterious humans, it would be her. "The Harmony's Edge and her escort fleet can reach the human system in 18 days, Veltar said, calling up star charts. "Standard first contact procedures will apply. Universal peace signals, mathematical communications, gradual approach, to show peaceful intent." "What if the humans are hostile?" Throx asked. "Then Admiral Vexara has full authority to defend herself and withdraw," Veltar replied. "The safety of her crew comes first." Zektar studied the energy readings again. Something about them bothered him, but he could not figure out what. The numbers were too clean, too precise, almost like someone wanted them to be detected. "There is something else," he said to the group. "The probe detected no military vessels in the human system. No patrol ships, no defensive platforms, no orbital weapons. For a species with this level of technology, that seems unusual." "Maybe they are truly peaceful," suggested Yil'ara hopefully. "Or maybe they do not need visible defenses," Veltar said grimly. The ambassadors spent the next hour reviewing everything the probe had discovered. The humans had colonies on several planets and moons in their system. They had mining operations in asteroid belts. Their population seemed to be in the billions. By all appearances, they were a normal, growing civilization, except for those impossible energy readings. "One more thing troubles me," Zektar said as the meeting ended. "The probe has been watching their system for 6 months. In all that time, not one human ship has left their system. Most species begin exploring beyond their home system as soon as they develop faster-than-light travel." "Perhaps they are simply cautious," Throx offered. "Or perhaps they are hiding," Veltar said quietly. As the ambassadors left the meeting room, each returned to their offices to send urgent messages to their home governments. Within hours, every major power in the galaxy knew about the mysterious humans and their impossible technology. Some species immediately began moving their fleets to defensive positions. Others started diplomatic preparations for potential new trading partners. A few began making plans for war just in case. But none of them were prepared for what Admiral Vexara would actually find in the human system. 3 days later, the Harmony's Edge and 11 escort vessels departed from Nexus Prime. Their mission was simple: make peaceful contact with humanity and assess their technology level. Admiral Vexara stood on her ship's bridge, watching the stars streak past as they jumped. To faster-than-light speed, she had conducted first contact with 17 different species during her career. Most had been friendly, a few had been hostile, all had been predictable. Somehow she suspected the humans would be different. The fleet would arrive at the Edge. of the human system in 15 days. Vexara used that time to study everything known about human culture and technology. Her science officers prepared translation programs and peaceful greeting protocols. None of them imagined they were flying toward a meeting that would change the galaxy forever. Deep in space, automated sensors detected the Council fleet's approach and sent coded messages toward the inner system. The messages traveled faster than light, reaching their destination in moments. Somewhere in the darkness between worlds, something vast began to wake up. Captain Elena Vasquez floated gently in the zero gravity of the observation deck, watching Jupiter's storms swirl through the massive window. Behind her, the bridge of the UES Olympus Mons hummed with quiet activity. Her crew of 3,000 worked in shifts around the clock, maintaining humanity's greatest secret. The ship stretched 47 kilometers from its pointed nose to its engine arrays. Its hull was black as space itself, covered in materials that absorbed every form of radiation. For 80 years, the Olympus Mons had drifted between Jupiter and Saturn, invisible to any sensors the galaxy possessed. Elena had been captain for 12 years. Before her, Captain Rodriguez had commanded the ship for 15 years. Before him, Captain Chen had served for 20. Each captain knew they might never see Earth again. They were humanity's last line of defense against a galaxy that could crush them without effort. "Captain, we have an update from Deep Space Monitor Station 7, called Lieutenant Commander Sarah Kim from the communications station. "The alien fleet is maintaining course toward the inner system. Estimated arrival in our detection range in 6 days." Elena pushed off from the window and drifted back to her command chair. The chair was built into a platform that could rotate in any direction, allowing her to see every station on the bridge. Around her, holographic displays showed the positions of every object in the solar system. "Any change in their formation?" Elena asked. "No, Captain. Still 12 vessels in standard exploration pattern. Their energy signatures match Council fleet configurations from our database." Elena nodded. For 97 years, humanity had been listening to galactic communications. They had learned the languages, studied the technology, and watched empires rise and fall. They knew about the Galactic Council, its rules, and its military capabilities. They also knew that by galactic standards, Earth should have been discovered and contacted decades ago. Humanity had made sure it was not. "Atlas, show me the tactical comparison," Elena said to the ship's artificial intelligence. A three-dimensional image appeared in front of her chair. It showed the approaching Council fleet alongside a scale model of the Olympus Mons. The alien flagship was 1.8 kilometers long, considered massive by galactic standards. Next to the human dreadnought, it looked like a toy. The enemy fleet possesses approximately 40,000 crew members across all vessels, Atlas reported in its calm voice. Combined firepower equivalent to 2.7 teratons of explosive force. Defensive capabilities include quantum shielding and gravitational deflection systems. "And our capabilities?" Elena asked, though she knew the answer. "The Olympus Mons carries a crew of 3,000. Primary weapon systems generate firepower equivalent to 847 petatons. Defensive systems include quantum-entangled armor plating, localized space-time distortion fields, and regenerative hull matrices." Elena smiled grimly. The Olympus Mons could destroy the entire Council fleet without taking significant damage. But that was not the point. Humanity did not want to conquer the galaxy. They just wanted to make sure the galaxy could never conquer them. The ship had been built during the darkest period of human history. In 2157, Earth's telescopes had detected signs of a vast galactic civilization. Instead of celebration, the discovery had caused panic. Humanity realized they were surrounded by thousands of alien species, some of which could wipe out Earth without effort. The solution had been Project Titan. Humanity's best scientists and engineers had worked in secret for 30 years to build ships that could protect Earth from any threat. The Olympus Mons was the first and largest of 5 Titan-class vessels. The others were hidden throughout the solar system, silent guardians watching over humanity's home. "Captain, message coming in from Earth Defense Command," Lieutenant Kim reported. Elena activated her private communication channel. The message was from Admiral Martinez, head of Earth's secret space navy. "Elena, the Council has issued first contact protocols to their fleet. They plan to attempt communication when they reach the inner system. The President is meeting with the Security Council in 2 hours to decide our response." Elena closed the channel and looked around her bridge. Her crew was the best humanity had to offer. They came from every nation on Earth, united by a single purpose, protecting their species from a galaxy that did not yet know they existed. "Commander Kim, what do our cultural specialists think about these aliens?" Sarah Kim pulled up her files. She had been studying alien psychology for 8 years, preparing for this moment. The Galactic Council appears to value peace and cooperation, but they enforce it through superior military power. When they encounter a new species, they offer membership and protection. If the species refuses or poses a threat, they use overwhelming force to neutralize the problem. And if we reveal ourselves? Best case scenario, they offer us membership as a minor species. We would have to follow their laws, limit our military, and accept their authority. Worst case, they see us as a threat and attempt to destroy us before we can become more dangerous. Elena had read the same reports. Throughout galactic history, no species had ever successfully resisted the Council's authority. A few had tried. Their home worlds were now uninhabited ruins, serving as warnings to others. But those species had not possessed Titan-class vessels. "Captain, I have a question," said Lieutenant Torres from the weapons station. "Go ahead. Why did we build ships? Like this? If we just wanted to hide, we could have stayed on Earth and used stealth technology. Why build weapons that could threaten the entire galaxy?" Elena had wondered the same thing when she first took command. Over the years, she had come to understand the answer. "Because hiding only works until someone finds you," she replied. "When that happens, you need to be strong enough that they decide to leave you alone." The bridge fell silent as her crew considered this. They all knew their history. Earth had tried hiding before, during the early days of space exploration, but advanced civilizations always found primitive ones eventually. The only choice was to be primitive and defenseless, or advanced and dangerous. Humanity had chosen to be dangerous. "Atlas, run a simulation of first contact scenarios," Elena ordered. "Please specify parameters, Captain. Assume the Council fleet discovers our presence. Model their likely responses based on historical patterns." The AI processed the request for several seconds. "Simulation complete. In 78% of scenarios, the Council fleet attempts to withdraw and report our existence to their superiors. In 19% of scenarios, they attempt direct communication. In 3% of scenarios, they attack immediately. And in each scenario, what is our optimal response? In all scenarios, revealing our full capabilities results in the highest probability of long-term human survival and independence." Elena nodded. The simulation confirmed what she already knew. Humanity could not hide forever. When they were discovered, they needed to make it clear that they were not prey. "Captain, we are receiving a priority message from Mars Defense Station," Lieutenant Kim announced. Elena opened the new channel. The message was short and direct. All Titan-class vessels are authorized to reveal themselves if necessary to protect human interests. Rules of engagement updated. You are cleared to make contact if the situation requires it. Good luck, Elena. Admiral Martinez. Elena closed the channel and looked at her crew. After 80 years of hiding, humanity was finally ready to introduce itself to the galaxy. All stations, stand ready. We may have visitors soon. The Olympus Mons continued its silent drift through space, but now its sensors were fully active, tracking the approaching alien fleet. In the depths of the ship, weapon systems that had never been fired outside of tests began charging their power banks. Somewhere in the distance, 12 alien vessels moved toward a meeting that would change everything they thought they knew about the galaxy. Admiral Vexara stood on the bridge of the Harmony's edge as her fleet dropped out of faster-than-light speed at the edge of the human solar system. Through the main view screen, she could see the distant yellow star that these mysterious beings called home. "All ships report successful arrival," announced Commander Thyros from the communications station. "Fleet is in standard first contact formation." Vexara nodded, her 4 eyes scanning the tactical displays that surrounded her command chair. The Mordani people had evolved with excellent eyesight, allowing them to process multiple visual inputs simultaneously. Right now, she was watching sensor readings, fleet positions, and communication channels all at once. "Begin long-range scans of the inner system," she ordered. "I want to know everything about these humans before we get close enough for them to detect us." The science officer, a thin creature called Zil Nox, whose people were known for their analytical abilities, worked quickly at his station. "Admiral, I am detecting extensive industrial activity throughout the system, space stations around the third planet, mining operations in the asteroid belt, colonies on several moons." "Military installations?" Vexara asked. "None that I can identify. There are orbital platforms around the home world, but they appear to be civilian in nature. Communication relays, research stations, manufacturing facilities." This puzzled Vexara. Every spacefaring civilization in the galaxy maintained visible defenses. Even the most peaceful species built patrol ships and defensive platforms. These humans seem to have none. "Perhaps they are truly peaceful," suggested Commander Thyros hopefully. "Or perhaps they hide their military assets," Vexara replied. She had been a military officer for 40 years and had learned to be suspicious of things that seemed too good to be true. "Admiral, we are receiving multiple communication signals from the inner system," reported the communications officer. "The humans appear to use primitive radio and quantum-encrypted data streams. Any sign they have detected our arrival?" "No, Admiral. Their sensor technology appears limited to their immediate vicinity. We could approach to within 1 light hour before they notice us." Vexara made her decision. "Set course for the outer edge of their sensor range. Standard approach speed. Begin broadcasting universal peace signals." The Council fleet moved deeper into the human system, passing the outer planets. Vexara studied everything her sensors revealed about these mysterious beings. They had achieved faster-than-light travel, but their ships were small and appeared to be designed for exploration rather than war. Their energy production was impressive for such a young civilization, but nothing that threatened galactic norms. So where were those impossible energy readings coming from? "Admiral, we are approaching the giant planet they call Jupiter," Zilnox reported. "Preliminary scans show extensive mining operations around its moons, very efficient resource extraction. Any sign of military vessels?" "Negative. Only civilian transports and industrial ships." As the fleet moved past Jupiter, Vexara began to relax slightly. Perhaps the energy readings had been a sensor error after all. These humans seemed like a typical developing civilization. Advanced. Enough to be interesting, but not advanced enough to be dangerous. Then everything changed. "Admiral!" Zilnox called out, his voice filled with alarm. "I am detecting a massive object between Jupiter and Saturn. The readings are impossible." "Show me," Vexara commanded. The main view screen switched to long-range sensors. At first, the object looked like a large asteroid. But as the computer enhanced the image, Vexara felt her blood turn cold. It was not an asteroid, it was a ship, the largest ship she had ever seen. Size analysis now, she ordered. 47 kilometers in length, Zilnox reported, his voice shaking. Mass equivalent to a small moon. Energy readings are off our scales. Vexara stared at the image in disbelief. The ship was larger than most cities, larger than some space stations. It violated every principle of galactic military doctrine. How is that possible? Commander Thyros whispered. No species in the galaxy builds ships that large. Because it is impossible to build ships that large, Vexara replied. The structural stresses alone would tear apart any known material. The power requirements would exceed the output of most stars. But there it was, hanging in space like a metal mountain. As they watched, lights began appearing along its hull, hundreds of them, then thousands. The ship was waking up. Admiral, we are being scanned, the sensor officer reported. The energy beam is incredibly sophisticated. It is analyzing our hull composition, power systems, and weapons loadouts. All ships, raise shields, Vexara ordered. Prepare for possible hostile action. But even as she gave the order, she knew it was useless. If the humans had built one, ship this large, they probably had weapons to match. Her entire fleet would be destroyed in seconds. The giant ship slowly began to turn toward them. Despite its enormous size, it moved with surprising grace. Whatever propulsion system it used was beyond anything in galactic technology. Incoming transmission, the communications officer announced. Put it through, Vexara said, surprised that her voice remained steady. A human face appeared on the view screen. It belonged to a middle-aged woman with short, dark hair and calm brown eyes. She wore a blue uniform with insignia that meant nothing to galactic civilization. Unknown vessels, you have entered human space, the woman said. Her voice was transmitted in perfect galactic standard, despite the fact that humans were supposed to be an undiscovered species. I am Captain Elena Vasquez of the United Earth ship Olympus Mons. State your intentions. The Bridge of the Harmonies. Edge fell silent. Vexara realized that several impossible things had just happened. The humans had detected her fleet from an incredible distance. They had translated her language perfectly, and they had revealed a ship that should not exist. This is Admiral Vexara of the Galactic Council Fleet Harmony's Edge, she replied. We come in peace, seeking first contact with your species. First contact? Captain Vasquez raised an eyebrow. We have been monitoring galactic communications. For nearly a century, Admiral, we know who you are and why you are here. Another impossibility. No undiscovered species had ever successfully intercepted and decoded galactic communications. Then you know we mean no harm, Vexara said carefully. We know you represent the Galactic Council, Vasquez replied. We also know the Council's policy toward species that do not conform to galactic norms. The threat was politely stated but unmistakable. The humans knew they possessed technology that violated Council regulations. They also knew what usually happened to species that violated Council regulations. Captain Vasquez, I assure you that the Council seeks only peaceful cooperation with all species. Perhaps. But we have learned that the galaxy can be a dangerous place for those who cannot defend themselves. As if to emphasize the point, weapon ports began opening along the massive ship's hull. Vexara counted hundreds of them, each large enough to house weapons that could destroy her entire fleet. We are prepared to discuss terms for peaceful coexistence, Vasquez continued. But those discussions will take place on our terms, in our space, under our protection. Vexara realized she was no longer conducting a first contact mission. She was negotiating with a species that held all the advantages. What are your terms? She asked. Your fleet will maintain its current position, while we arrange for proper diplomatic contact. You will make no aggressive moves and take no hostile actions. In return, we will guarantee your safety and provide you with accommodations suitable for your species. And if we refuse? Captain Vasquez's expression did not change. but the weapon ports on her ship glowed brighter. "Admiral, I suggest you do. Not refuse." Vexara looked around her bridge. Her officers stared back at her with expressions of shock and fear. In 3,000 years of galactic civilization, no first contact had ever gone like this. "We accept your terms," Vexara said. "Excellent. Please transmit your fleet's technical specifications so we can prepare appropriate docking facilities. We will begin formal diplomatic contact in 12 hours. The transmission ended, leaving Vexara alone with her thoughts and her fears. She had come here expecting to meet a primitive species that needed galactic protection. Instead, she had found beings who possessed technology that could threaten the entire galactic order. As her fleet took defensive positions around the giant human ship, Vexara composed an urgent message to the Galactic Council. The message was short, but would change everything. First contact successful. Human technology far exceeds galactic norms. Recommend immediate high-level diplomatic engagement. The galaxy has a new player, and they are not asking for permission to join the game. The emergency session of the Galactic Council had been going for 6 hours, and Ambassador Zektar had never seen anything like it. Around the circular chamber, representatives from 847 different species argued, threatened, and pleaded with each other. The carefully maintained order of galactic civilization was cracking under the weight of Admiral Vexara's report. "This is impossible," roared General Crothax, the military representative of the Thexori Dominion. His massive form towered over the other ambassadors as his scales flashed angry red. "No single species can possess technology this advanced. The humans must be receiving aid from an unknown galactic power." "The evidence suggests otherwise," replied Ambassador Ylara calmly. Her people, the Zorani, were known for their logical approach to problems. "Our deep space monitors have detected no unusual activity in human space, no foreign vessels, no energy signatures that match known galactic technology. Whatever the humans have built, they built it themselves. Then they must be destroyed before they become a threat to galactic stability," Crothax declared. A chorus of voices erupted around the chamber. Some species supported immediate military action. Others called for diplomatic solutions. A few suggested offering the humans advanced galactic technology in exchange for their cooperation. Zektar watched the chaos and felt a deep sadness. For 3,000 years, the Council had maintained peace through a careful balance of power. Every species followed the same rules, used similar technology, and accepted Council authority. That balance was now broken. "Order! Order!" called High Chancellor Morthul from the center of the chamber. The ancient being's voice carried the authority of his 1,000 years in office. "We will hear from Admiral Vexara directly." The chamber fell silent as a holographic image of Admiral Vexara appeared above the central platform. Her image flickered slightly due to the quantum-encrypted communication across dozens of light years. "Honored Council members," Vexara began, "I must report that everything we believed about the limits of technology may be incorrect. The human vessel I encountered is not just large. It is sophisticated beyond our current understanding." "Explain," demanded Chancellor Morthul. "The ship's hull appears to be composed of materials that exist in multiple quantum states simultaneously. Their sensors can analyze molecular composition from distances that should be impossible. Their power source generates energy signatures consistent with controlled black hole manipulation." Gasps echoed through the chamber. Black hole manipulation was theoretical technology that most species considered impossible. "Furthermore," Vexara continued, "the humans have demonstrated the ability to create localized gravitational fields. During our negotiations, they moved a small asteroid simply to show they could do it. The level of control required suggests mastery of space-time physics that exceeds our best theoretical models." "How many of these ships do they possess?" asked General Crothax. "Unknown. Captain Vasquez implied there are others, but provided no specific numbers." She also indicated that this vessel, the Olympus Mons, is primarily defensive in nature. Defensive? Crothax laughed harshly. A ship that size could destroy entire fleets. It could level cities from orbit. Yes, Vexara agreed. But, Captain, Vasquez was very clear about their intentions. They do not seek territorial expansion or galactic dominance. They want to be left alone to develop in peace. And if we refuse to leave them alone? Asked Ambassador Veltar. Vexara's expression grew grim. Then I believe we would face a war unlike anything in galactic history. A war we might not win. The chamber erupted again. The idea that the mighty Galactic Council might lose a war to a single species was unthinkable. Yet here was their best admiral telling them exactly that. What are the humans offering in terms of diplomatic relations? Asked Ambassador Drokan. They are willing to join the Council as full members, with certain conditions. They will not limit their military capabilities to Council standards. They will not allow Council inspection of their technology. And they want guarantee rights to protect smaller species from aggressive empires. Unacceptable, declared General Crothax. No species can demand special privileges. With respect, General, Vexara replied, I do not think they are asking for privileges. I think they are stating facts. They have the technology to enforce their demands. The question is whether we accept their terms or try to stop them. Zektar stood up slowly. As the senior ambassador, he had the right to address the council directly. I have been studying the humans for the past week, he said. Their history, their culture, their values. They are not conquerors by nature. For most of their civilization, they have fought among themselves rather than seeking to dominate others. But they are also survivors. When threatened, they respond with overwhelming force. What are you suggesting? Asked Chancellor Morthul. I am suggesting that we have encountered something completely new. A species that has chosen isolation and defensive supremacy over expansion and conquest. They do not want to rule the galaxy. They simply want to ensure that no one else can rule them. And you think we should accept this? Crothax demanded. I think we have no choice, Zektar replied. The alternative is a war that could destroy galactic civilization. For several minutes, the chamber remained silent as each representative considered the implications. Finally, Chancellor Morthul spoke. We will put it to a vote. All in favor of accepting the human terms for council membership? Lights appeared throughout the chamber as representatives cast their votes. When the counting was finished, the result was clear. 634 votes in favor, 213 against. The motion passes, Chancellor Morthul announced. Ambassador Zektar, you will return to human space with Admiral Vexara to begin formal negotiations. Meanwhile, in the Sol system, Captain Vasquez stood in her ready room aboard the Olympus, Mons, reading reports from Earth. The revelation of humanity's hidden capabilities had caused as much chaos on Earth as it had in the galactic capital. Captain, incoming transmission from President Chen, announced her communications officer. The president appeared on Vasquez's wall screen, looking tired but determined. Elena, I wanted to personally thank you for handling first contact so well. The Council has agreed to our terms. What about Earth's reaction, Madam President? Mixed. Some people are excited about joining galactic civilization. Others are worried about losing our independence. But everyone agrees that you made the right choice in revealing ourselves. And the other Titan-class vessels? They remain hidden for now. The galaxy knows we have advanced technology, but they do not need to know exactly how advanced. That information gives us negotiating power for the future. Vasquez nodded. Humanity had revealed enough to gain respect and membership in the Council. They had kept enough hidden to maintain their independence and security. There is one more thing, President Chen continued. The Council has asked us to provide protection for several smaller species that have been threatened by aggressive empires. They want to see if we are serious about our peaceful intentions. And our response? We accept. It is time for humanity to take its place as a guardian of galactic peace, but we do it on our terms, protecting those who cannot protect themselves. After the transmission ended, Vasquez returned to the bridge. Through the view screen, she could see the Council fleet maintaining a respectful distance. They had been impressed by humanity's power. Now they would learn about humanity's values. Commander Kim, open a channel to Admiral Vex Ara. Channel open, Captain. Admiral, I have received word from my government. We accept the Council's invitation to membership. We look forward to working together for galactic peace and prosperity. Thank you, Captain Vasquez. I believe this will be the beginning of a new era for all of us. As the Olympus Mons powered down its weapons and opened its docking bays to receive the first galactic diplomatic mission to Earth, Vasquez reflected on how much the galaxy had changed in just a few days. Humanity had spent a century preparing for this moment. Now the real work would begin, proving that power and responsibility could coexist, and that sometimes the strongest guardian was the one who chose not to use their strength. 6 months after first contact, Admiral Elena Vasquez stood on the command deck of the UES Guardian, watching the peaceful flow of civilian traffic through the Kepler trade corridor. The new human vessel was only 12 kilometers long, tiny, compared to the Olympus Mons, but it still dwarfed most ships in the galaxy. Admiral, we have 3 freighters requesting escort through the Vorthan system, reported Commander Torres from the communications station. Pirates have been active in that region lately. Assign the Defiant and Resolute to escort duty, Vasquez replied. Standard protection protocols. It still amazed her how much the galaxy had changed since humanity revealed itself. The mere presence of human ships on patrol routes had ended 3 major interstellar wars and reduced piracy by 90%. Nobody wanted to fight when beings capable of moving asteroids were watching. The Galactic Council had honored their agreement with humanity. Earth now held a permanent seat with unprecedented voting power. Human technology remained off-limits to inspection, but humanity had shared selected innovations for peaceful purposes. Medical advances, agricultural improvements, and communication systems had benefited species throughout the galaxy. Admiral, incoming priority message from Earth, Commander Torres announced. President Martinez appeared on the main screen. She had replaced President Chen after the historic election, where humanity voted on its role in galactic affairs. Elena, I have good news and interesting news. Which do you want first? The good news, please. The Velnathi system dispute has been resolved peacefully. Both sides accepted human mediation rather than risk military action with our ships in the area. Vasquez smiled. The Velnathi had been fighting over mineral rights for 50 years. The arrival of human peacekeepers had convinced them to try diplomacy instead. And the interesting news? The Council has received a request from the Outer Rim. Territories. 17 species want to form a new defensive alliance under human protection. They are calling it the Protected Worlds Initiative. This was significant. The Outer Rim species were small civilizations that had always lived in fear of larger empires. Now they saw humanity as a protector that asked for nothing in return except peaceful cooperation. What is Earth's response? Vasquez asked. The Security Council has approved it. You will be in charge of establishing patrol routes and defensive positions. Just remember, we are protectors, not rulers. After the transmission ended, Vasquez walked to the observation lounge where she often went to think. Through the transparent walls, she could see the stars that humanity now helped guard. It was a responsibility her species had never sought, but had accepted when necessity demanded it. Admiral, a voice called behind her. She turned to see Dr. Sarah Kim, now humanity's chief xenobiologist and cultural liaison to the Council. Sarah had been instrumental in establishing peaceful relationships with dozens of species. What brings you here, Sarah? I wanted to share something with you. I just finished reviewing the latest galactic crime statistics. Good news, I hope? Better than good. Interstellar warfare is at the lowest level in recorded galactic history. Piracy has dropped to almost nothing. Even minor conflicts are being resolved through mediation rather than force. Vasquez nodded. The peace of strength. More than that, Sarah continued. I think we have fundamentally changed how the galaxy thinks about power. Before humans arrived, strength meant the ability to conquer and control. Now, strength means the ability to protect and preserve. Through the observation windows, they could see a small convoy of ships from 6 different species traveling together peacefully. A year ago, some of those species had been enemies. Now they traded and cooperated under human protection. There is something else, Sarah said. The Council's Xenopsychology Department has asked for our help with a problem they have never encountered before. What kind of problem? Several aggressive species have voluntarily disarmed their military fleets. They say there is no point in building weapons when humans have ships that make warfare obsolete. The Council does not know how to handle voluntary disarmament. Vasquez laughed. I suppose that is a good problem to have. Later that day, Vasquez attended a virtual meeting with the other Titan-class commanders. Captain Rodriguez of the Olympus. Mons was still on duty in the Sol system. Captain Singh commanded the Everest from a hidden position near the galactic core. Captain O'Brien led the Kilimanjaro on patrol in the troubled outer rim. Captain Nakamura's Denali guarded the peaceful inner worlds. Status reports, Vasquez requested. All quiet in home space, Rodriguez reported. Earth Defense Command is processing applications from 47 species that want to establish diplomatic missions on Earth. We may need to build a bigger space station. The Outer Rim situation is stabilizing, O'Brien added. The Krothak Empire has withdrawn their fleets from disputed territories. They claim they are focusing on internal development instead of expansion. Translation: they are scared, Singh said with a grin. Half the galaxy's military budgets have been redirected to infrastructure and social programs. Nobody wants to spend money on weapons that cannot compete with ours. Vasquez felt a deep satisfaction. Humanity had achieved something no species in galactic history had managed. They had made war unprofitable and peace attractive. There is one more development, Captain Nakamura reported. The Council has asked us to establish a permanent peacekeeping academy on Nexus Prime. They want to train officers from all species in conflict resolution and diplomatic protection. And our response? Earth has approved it. We will be teaching the galaxy how to keep peace, instead of how to make war. After the meeting ended, Vasquez returned to her quarters and activated her personal communication system. Her daughter, now a lieutenant aboard a human exploration vessel, appeared on the screen. Hello, Mom. How is galactic peacekeeping going? Better than we hoped. How is your mission to the Andromeda contact zone? Fascinating. We have made contact with 3 new species this month. All of them have asked for human protection before they even learned our name. Apparently, our reputation has spread beyond our own galaxy. Vasquez felt a mix of pride and responsibility. Humanity had become the galaxy's protector, but they had done it by choice rather than conquest. Any word on when you might come home? She asked. Actually, I have news about that. The Exploration Service is establishing a permanent base in the Andromeda Galaxy. I have been asked to command it. Congratulations. Your father would be proud. I hope so. We are naming the base Chen Station, after the president who made first contact possible. After her daughter signed off, Vasquez walked to her personal observation deck and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, human ships maintained the peace that allowed billions of beings to live, work, and dream without fear. Other human vessels explored new worlds and made contact with species that had never known galactic civilization existed. Humanity had spent centuries wondering if they were alone in the universe. Now they knew they were not alone, and they had chosen to ensure that no species would ever have to face the darkness of space without protection. The galaxy had found its guardians, and the guardians had found their purpose. On Earth, Children looked up at the night sky and saw not empty space, but a vast community of worlds that their species helped protect. They dreamed of exploring distant stars and meeting alien friends. They planned careers in diplomacy, science, and peacekeeping. The age of human isolation was over. The age of human guardianship had begun. In the deep void between galaxies, automated sensors detected signs of an approaching threat. Something vast and hostile was moving toward the local group of galaxies, still centuries away, but inevitable. When that threat arrived, it would find not a collection of competing species and scattered worlds, but a united galactic community, protected by guardians who had learned that the greatest power was the power to preserve rather than destroy. The galaxy slept peacefully, watched over by humanity's silent titans, knowing that tomorrow would bring new opportunities for cooperation, exploration, and growth. It was a future worth protecting, and humanity had proven they were worthy of the trust placed in them. The stars shone brightly, and for the first time in galactic history, their light illuminated a universe truly at peace.